Another child actor has came forward, and it's Matthew Underwood.
My name is Matthew Underwood, and I play Logan Reese on Zoe 101.
I'm kind of shocked that it was downplayed, that Dan Schneider was just a asshole. He was children.
All my condolences are being sent to him.
More Nickelodeon stars are coming forward, and now Zoe 101 star Matthew Underwood is shedding light on his darkest moments and how he was taken advantage of by the industry. So let's get into it. If you aren't subscribed to the Let's Get Into It podcast, then you're only getting half the tea. For longer videos, deep dives, and of course, more of me, subscribe to the Let's Get Into It podcast listed in the description below. Now, it looks like all of the former Nickelodeon stars are coming out of the woodwork since this documentary came out, which I'm so excited to see because now this documentary has created a space where these child stars can come forward and share their darkest moments working in the industry. For example, Zoe 101 star Matthew Underwood revealed that he was SA'd and explains why some of the Nickelodeon actors are still staying silent after the Quiet on Set documentary. Former Zoe 101 star Matthew Underwood revealed on Instagram that he was SA'd twice, first at the age of 12 by his friend's stepfather, and again at the age of 19 by his former agent. In the caption, Matthew clarified that his current agents, Lauren and Sam, are not the people who harmed her. They are, quote, incredible human beings, so don't go after his current agent, he says. Actually, to one of these agents, he says, I want to thank Lauren for literally having my back since I was 8 years old. The only time of my life I wasn't represented by her was the year and a half I had a terrible experience with another agent. If it wasn't for Lauren and Sam, I would have never been on screen again. Which, as a creator, obviously I'm not an actor, I wasn't a child actor, but I have a great agent, and having a good agent really changes your experience working in this industry. Now, I do think we'll get more information about this agent, but I do want to clarify that I don't think this agent was representing Matthew when he was and works with Nickelodeon during the time he was harmed. I don't know if the agent is associated with Nickelodeon, but at least he wasn't in any Nickelodeon productions.
It looks like another child actor has came forward, and it's Matthew Underwood. And some of you guys may know him as Logan from Zoe 101. And those of you who know him as Logan from Zoe 101, but says here he opens up about being assaulted by his agent when he was 19, which led him to stop acting.
Now, after Zoe 101 ended in 2008, Matthew had a role in a movie titled Reality Horror Night that following year, and then he took a hiatus from acting until 2017 when he was in The Magic Studio. Again, two pieces I've never heard. I mean, I don't watch a lot of movies, but comment below, have you guys heard of either of these movies? I'm not talking about Zoe 101. I'm talking about Reality Horror Night and The Magic Studio. One of the reasons why Matthew said that he spoke out was because people have been sending him death threats for not commenting on Quiet on Set, which was released earlier this month. You guys know we talked a ton about Quiet on Set with Alexa Nicholas, with Drake Bell, with Amanda Bynes' story, and a lot of people were coming to Matthew saying, like, why aren't you speaking on this? So he actually felt pressure to share his story, which I'm not that big of a fan of because we shouldn't force people to share their darkest moments. I mean, him receiving death threats because he hasn't commented on it is not okay. I hope my people aren't doing that. We don't subscribe to that. He wrote, why am I telling you this? Well, lately, many people have been blowing up my email telling me they hope me and my mom die and that we burn in hell. I'm being called a pedo defender and all that jazz. I've spent many years rebuilding my self-image, and those hateful words have little effect on me today. But I imagine many of my friends in the business are being equally harassed if they aren't joining the chorus. So I'm sharing this with the hope that some of you can recognize that just because a person doesn't shout from the rooftops, they aren't bad people.
All my condolences are being sent to him because this is like insane to even talk about. And I also wanted to say that it's only less than a week than the next episode on Quiet on Set releases. So this is just like crazy. Please do not bombard him. Don't like force him to tell more. Like just leave it at that. And we all love you. We're all sending like love towards you. Like this is insane.
Matthew went on to write in his caption, we all want to live in a better world that requires all of us to treat each other with empathy and not make assumptions about people's personal experiences. We're all feeling pain right now, and I can understand if you are angry, but harassing people who maintain their privacy and wishing death upon their families is no way to make this world better and safer for all of us, which Mr. Matthew, I have to agree. You know, I'm not a big fan of Matthew Underwood. I would interview him. I'd be so down. I don't think he likes me because I brought up his criminal past in Florida, but we can all move on. Now, even though Matthew is coming forward with his stories, he's not sharing anything bad about Dan Schneider, saying, I never had a bad experience working on the set of a Nickelodeon show, and I never had a bad experience with Dan. I have nothing to add to the conversation that anyone would care to hear. Dan appears to recognize that he had been an a-hole in his past. I like to believe that he's fully capable of being a creator and co-worker everyone can enjoy working with. Well, our friend Alexa Nicholas from the Eat Predators channel, who also worked with Matthew on the Zoe 101 show, had some thoughts to his reaction and his statement about Dan, kind of invalidating other people's experiences. And keep in mind, it's not just these child stars, it's also staffers who were clearly harassed by this man. So he's done wrong.
And I do just have a few statements, though, about what he said when in regards to Dan Schneider being an asshole. You know, Dan Schneider wasn't just an asshole. That wasn't just what that documentary was about. And I'm kind of shocked that it was downplayed that Dan Schneider was just a asshole. He was children on kids' TV shows while he was working at a kids network. This is not him just being an asshole. This is him children.
Matthew goes on to finish his statement by saying, so please take a moment and consider that some people might not be making statements because talking about these kind of things brings up memories and emotions that are difficult to deal with, which I agree. I can't believe I even have to say this, but of course I do not effing support P words. Please stop wishing death upon my family and please reconsider harassing other actors who want to maintain their privacy. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, and I can't imagine being in his position or any of these actors who don't want to talk about this, even though us as people are so ready to support them as survivors aren't ready to, put it out there.
Really hope that Matthew Underwood did not feel pressured in any way by anyone. We need to choose the time that we tell people our stories. And so it was very brave of him, and I must say that. And I wish him the best in his healing journey. And I'm honestly a little bit sketched out, though, that this agent was just fired and that he's still in the industry. I mean, this is the pattern all the time, right? This is what happens all the time is they just get fired or they don't even get fired. They step down or they don't step down. And then they end up working for another company, another corporation within the entertainment industry. And so that really terrifies me.
Now, one thing I found interesting about Matthew's posts is that he did link a Reddit thread. He wrote, as I've been informed, my words were misunderstood around the interwebs. So for further clarification, please see this Reddit thread, which I never use Reddit. I don't know how to use it. Thank God my people, they can figure it out because we got some screenshots and some reactions. Now here's the thread, which essentially links an article from Variety, which talks about Matthew's posts. This person wrote this on top of him being harmed by his best friend's stepfather when he was 12. This guy has been harmed and taken advantage of from figures that should have been protecting him for all his life. Another person wrote, I will 100% agree and not blame those for staying silent. I will take issue with those that actually wrote statements in defense of the case against Brian Peck. You guys know that Brian Peck is the man who harmed Drake Bell, and there were a bunch of celebrities in Hollywood defending him, trying to keep him from going behind bars for what he did to Drake. Another person added, respect and strength to him, but unfortunately, I think we can forgive Dan Schneider without allowing him the luxury and privilege of being a creator. He's made millions. His ride is over. No more chances. Another person added, I hate how not speaking out on something is now considered being part of a problem. Some people just don't want to be associated with certain things, especially traumatic situations like this one. Another person wrote, I think the idea many people have is that the more people speak out, the more attention will be brought to it. And then the more likely something will be done to stop it. Which I can agree with that sentiment as well. This person writes, people have taken silence is violence literally to an extreme to where it's becoming a violent tactic to force victims to 1, re-traumatize themselves, and then 2, expose their personal trauma to the world. And I don't know. I have a very mixed feeling about this because I also have, we all have personal trauma, and I don't know if I would ever even feel comfortable publicly sharing those things.
This is exactly the I was talking about when it came to Amanda Bynes. How disrespectful it was when people were just harassing the out of her, expecting her to speak out. Nobody owes you I feel like death threats nowadays is giving cuckoo. It's giving fucking cuckoo. It's giving touch some fucking grass. Like, I don't fucking get it why people feel the fucking need to feel entitled for someone to share something so fucking dark and personal. Like, what do you fucking possibly gain from someone speaking out about dark experiences like that? Like, with the people that, oh, this will help so many people. You're not thinking like that. Because if you're actually trying to consider helping anyone, how about helping the actual victim on just not speaking out about it publicly, their mental health? There's so much that come with speaking out about something like that.
Now, Matthew did chime into Reddit and he wrote his own personal comment. He writes, "This is Matthew Underwood. I believe people are putting words in my mouth and making assumptions about my intentions with that part of my statement. I know whatever I say will find a way to be twisted by someone, but my attention was unfortunately brought to this thread and I feel like it's necessary to try and clarify. I wholeheartedly empathize with anyone who has had experiences that made their life and work more difficult, especially women who continue to be subjected to more BS than I can even imagine. One of the reasons I never brought up my experiences, even in the height of the Me Too movement, is because I never wanted to draw attention away from people who need and deserve it. I've been lucky enough to have the support I need to be comfortable being me. I truly wish that even the men who violated me wanted to be better humans, and if they truly did want that and made an effort to be a better human, I want to live in a world that could positively reinforce that change and offering them opportunities to be a better human. Obviously, I wouldn't want them around children. Well, thank you. But no matter what pain is brought upon me, I will always want the world to be a better place."
That took a lot of bravery, and that's the first time he has come forward. And, I'm seeing a lot of this with Quiet on Set, where survivors of CSA or just survivors in general are feeling really empowered to tell their stories. You never want a survivor to feel pressured to tell their story. And so I hope that's not how Matthew Underwood felt when people were behaving like that in his DMs, especially when it's someone that you know, which obviously Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon, Matthew Underwood was on a Nickelodeon show and a Dan Schneider show. And I don't know if anyone's watched my videos when it came to Matthew Underwood's letters to a fan defending Dan Schneider, but he obviously has had his own experiences with Dan Schneider. But it's sad. And I really do hope that this documentary has made people feel safe enough to tell their story and that they're valid.
Now, I do want to take a step back and talk about Matthew Underwood's time on Zoe 101. Many fans commented saying they weren't surprised at the allegations because his character was very sexualized in the show. He was known as the hot jock, showing off his muscles and his abs and this bro-y type of guy.
Well, my name is Matthew Underwood, and I play Logan Reese on Zoe 101, the mean jock.
Okay, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it's mostly about the biceps and triceps. Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's all abs.
Who's like, never wears sleeves, really conceited, sexist.
Really, the character that he played in that show was the person that Dan Schneider always wanted to be as a kid. I feel like he kind of vicariously lives through some of these child stars, which just adds to the toxicity of this workplace and the relationship he has with these people. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. If Matthew Underwood would like to come onto the channel, come onto the podcast, do an interview, there is always a welcome invite. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye, guys.